Smile. Breathe. And just remember, it's too late to get out of it, so you might as well go on.
Do you ever get the feeling that people are incapable of not caring?
You know, I'm screwed up and average enough that I could write a song that'll live on forever. And then after that, it don't matter. I am the king of gay chickens.
No, seriously, what the fuck?
Honestly, you're in a memory in your subconscious.
Fuck! Seriously?
I don't know what you've been told, little lady, but the rest of us start at 9. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Good morning.
Hey, Benny! Looks to me like you're on the wrong side of the river!
Is it gonna be like this all the time?
So, there's another one.
Yeah.
Last episode we had the...
We're talking about the second Meg movie, right?
The
Meg 2,
yep,
The Trench.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, that's obviously very difficult news for all of us to process.
Episode.
The last episode, we actually had the devastating news that there is the Fraser's Edge podcast.
Devastating
who were just
news.
Out here absolutely eating our lunch with their own Brendan Fraser filmography podcast. Because, it would be fine if it was just a couple of dweebs, having boring conversations. But unfortunately, it's good. Which is terrible news for us.
So
obviously.
Are we the dweebs?
Well, no, I don't think... It's not like one of us has to be dweebs.
Okay.
We can all be cool. But, the ideal situation would be that, everyone else who's doing a Brendan Fraser filmography show would be rubbish. And then we would just come in and just dominate the scene.
Okay.
That is clearly not going to happen. That was pretty difficult to deal with. Since then, I've also discovered a YouTube channel called the Bembridge Scholars.
Oh, that's a great name.
Great name. They kind of have two names. That's their YouTube name, but the series is called the International Brendan Fraser Film Festival of North Carolina, which is also a lot of fun. And
are they not in North Carolina though? Because that would be so much better.
I think they are.
Still cool.
Still cool. And this is these two girls who have been making these short YouTube videos going through the Brendan Fraser filmography as well.
Nice.
They do seem to have stopped.
Oh, at
the last episode was a year ago, and they were around 2005.
Okay.
They did crash, and then maybe that was just too much.
Yeah, that's reason enough to stop.
And unfortunately, these are good as well, and funny, and I like them, and I've been enjoying listening to them.
Maybe it's Brendan's fault.
So now, I think we need to look at this as a positive.
Okay.
We've got to reframe this, and this is going to shake us out of our complacency. Because with Daniel Craig and with Brenton Thwaites, we've been coming in here loosey-goosey, knowing that we're the only players in the game, so it doesn't really matter what we do. Now, it doesn't have to be competition, but we are a part of a community. A part of the community of Brendan Fraser filmography content creators.
I believe that Brendan Fraser is also a commodity that is... it's hard to picture yourself not being part of a community.
True. I mean,
coming into Brendan Fraser,
as we said before, we should have known this.
No,
that's partly why I was so excited, because I thought it's crazy this doesn't already exist, and I was very wrong. I was just completely wrong about that. The latest of many instances. So we no longer have the luxury of being the only people doing it. Now we've got to step it up and bring something new to the table that our compatriots,
our neighbours,
our fellow Frasiacs, we have to see what they've done, and then we have to add to it. And we do have the advantage in a way of coming in last. So we get to see what they did.
Mistakes.
We won't make the terrible errors that
when they
hopefully they've made at some point.
That they hated so much, we'll avoid it.
Well, look, everyone else likes Dogfight.
They're such idiots.
Everyone else likes Dogfight. And
how?
it's quite unsettling to just to find other people talking about Child of Darkness, Child of Light. You know? Because we're used to that feeling of being very alone with what it is we're doing. But other people are doing it as well. And good for them. And I hope these guys come back. I don't know what happened a year ago that
There have been times...
brought them to a shuddering halt, but the Bembridge Scholars, everyone.
Good name.
Check it out.
There have been times doing these podcasts where
Mm-hmm.
it has felt like we are the only people who've seen certain things
Yeah.
in a great span of time.
And that's part of the fun.
It is part of the fun. It's also
You're like the Indiana Jones of content.
quite lonely and horrible.
Well, exactly, yeah. We can try and... Now we are in a community.
Yes,
We don't-
where other people are punishing themselves as well.
We have fellow travelers. So let's look at that as a good thing.
Hello, everybody. It's us, the third most popular Brenton Fraser podcast.
Is this you introducing the show
The
for the
first
first
most
time?
popular-
See, we're so
popular-
shaken up.
Brendan Fraser podcast in Australia.
Yeah, hello everyone.
Australia's premier Brendan
We're
Fraser
the only Australian
podcast.
one. No one can take that away from us. Yeah, that's good.
Exactly.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Exceptional Thieves. This is a podcast where Isaac and I review and rewrite movies. I'm Sam.
I am Isaac Tibbs.
And this is the latest episode of our very special series presenting the only Australian
Take.
take on the filmography.
POV. The Australian POV.
The Australian/British POV, I guess, on the filmography of the one and only Brendan Fraser, the king of film.
I like that we're still calling him the king of film.
Yeah, I think that's
with
good.
it. He's crowned at the moment.
Yeah, he has that crown. We can keep saying that till the next Oscars. And got a good one today.
We do have a good film
This is-
today. I should rephrase that. We have a film today.
It's
We're going to talk about it.
It's undeniably a film. You can't take that away from it.
I mean, you should.
No, nope. It's long, and it's moving
It's
pictures.
also not that long.
It's mercifully short in a lot of ways. We're talking about younger and younger, ladies and gentlemen. 1993 is younger and younger. And, well, I mean, have you seen any good movies lately?
I have seen some good movies lately.
Let's do that first, because I just feel like we need to warm ourselves up a little bit more before doing this. And this is something the other podcasts don't do. They don't do have you seen any good movies lately? This is one of our unique selling
They don't
points.
have...
No, they do. They do bits, but they, I think, very unwisely limit themselves to only talking about the thing that they advertise that they talk about, which is something we've always resisted. We like to do. Have you seen any good movies lately? And also, we realized we used to more heavily try to rewrite stuff,
This is true.
and that's something we're going to try and do more, so that we're maybe contributing something a little bit extra to the Brendan Fraser discourse.
Yeah.
And rewriting stuff is not something everyone
Could also
likes.
open conversations for other people to disagree completely with us,
Yeah.
which
Well,
I think we would welcome.
I feel like we've been opening that conversation pretty relentlessly
This is
throughout this show. But this is just another avenue, you know. We're going to trigger people, you know, because, like, it doesn't matter what they say about you in the press, you just measure it in inches. You know, Andy Warhol
Content.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to, if people are angry, it doesn't matter, they're engaging.
They're still talking about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, up until now, we've been mild-mannered, Isaac. We've just been a couple of... Who's mild-mannered in comics? Maybe.
Clark Kent.
Is Clark Kent mild-mannered?
Clark Kent is quite mild-mannered.
Okay, yeah. What does it mean?
Bruce Wayne is not mild-mannered.
What does it mean if
he's
you're
a bit of a
strongly
man-slut.
mannered?
You're Bruce Wayne.
You open the door for someone and you just rip it off its hinges.
You open the door for someone, but into them.
Yeah.
Here, let me help you, and then just
Knock them down the
directly into
stairs.
them. Oh,
Sorry. That was my manners coming out there.
oh, I let my manners.
Oh,
out.
no. I actually have to be rude, because if I let my manners start to show, people end up in the hospital. What movies have you seen lately, Isaac?
I've seen Spider-Man
Oh, yeah.
Across the Spider-Verse, which you
greatest-
have also seen.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it yet.
I ain't seen the greatest animated movie of all time, apparently.
Yes.
Better than Lion King.
Which one?
The animated one, not the live action.
Live action in
Yeah,
quotes.
not when they filmed
Not the
lions.
live action that they CGI'd the entire thing of.
I'm talking about the animated original Lion King, which had the same composer as Younger and Younger.
Hey, that's very fucking true. But
Hans
yes, it
Zimmer
is better than The Lion King.
did Younger and Younger, and then the next year he did The Lion King.
The next year.
The next year.
What the fuck?
What a world.
We'll get there,
Anyway,
we'll get there.
and you're just a big Spider-Man
I am a
hog
Spider-Man
fiend anyway. Whatever
Stan
that
is what they call it, isn't it? When you're a fan
Yeah,
of
but
someone. I don't really know what that stands for.
Oh, I don't think it stands for anything.
Oh.
I do find that word. I don't like it.
I don't know where it comes from.
No, me neither. But and it's played out. I'm sick
Okay.
of hearing it.
Sweet, then we ain't gonna say it.
Yeah, we're not a part of Stan culture, even though that could be arguably the entire basis of our podcast.
This is true. I have loved Spider-Man for a long time.
Yeah.
I have many comic books in my house, and I do think he is the greatest superhero of them all.
He's kind of mild-mannered.
Peter Parker is quite mild-mannered, yeah. Spider-Man just quips and has a good time. But is also very nice to most people, even the bad guys.
That sounds pretty mild-mannered to me.
But yes, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse,
Excuse you.
is quite possibly the best animated film of all time.
Well, shit. All right.
I will give it that. I want you to see it
I
before we
want.
talk
I
about
want
it
to
too
see
much.
it. Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So you have seen some good movies lately.
I have seen several. I've seen movies lately.
Yeah.
Some of them have been good.
Yeah.
I watched Boogeyman at the cinemas.
Oh, yep. You mentioned.
Which
Pretty good.
good. Like it's story. I guess you could want more for, but that's a thing with a lot of horror films lately. What I loved about Boogeyman was creature design
Okay.
and the way they do.
Really
They
good
hide the
boogers.
creature nicely, and there's not too many jump scares, which I do enjoy with a horror film to still make
Yeah.
tension there. I do love those two little beady eyes in the shadows, though.
Two Eyes in the Shadows is great. It's really jump scares. It's an exercise in restraint, isn't it?
Yes,
Where some people seem to think more the better,
and I don't
and
think
then
it's
you're
necessary.
just sitting there like you're on a pogo stick the whole time.
Yeah,
Get it because you're jumping.
I do get it. I
You
do
get what
get
I
it.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but sitting on a pogo stick would
That's-
be very uncomfortable.
Yeah. No.
Very
you wouldn't.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, because you wouldn't bounce for 90 minutes if you were sitting on a pogo stick. You do it once and then stop and be like, "This is a real problem."
You do it once
have
and
to-
then purposely fall over
I have to. Yeah.
and have to get helped up.
If I'm going to keep doing this, I at least need to not be in public.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Have you seen any good movies lately?
Nothing brilliant. I watched Escape from New York for the first time,
Yes.
which I did like. It's bad in a lot of good ways.
There is a sequel.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it.
Nice.
I'm going to watch it. Finished Deep Blue Sea.
Have you never watched Deep Blue Sea before?
No, I have, but we
Okay.
started watching it, then we stopped, then went back to it. I will watch that terribly named Netflix series, The Days,
The Days.
which is a Japanese TV show about the Fukushima nuclear
I saw
disaster,
a thing for
tsunami
that.
and
Yeah,
disaster. Yeah.
good.
And like Chernobyl is like basically my favorite show of all time. So this is my shit.
Oh.
And it is very good. Too long. It's like
Chernobyl was pretty long.
no, Chernobyl's like 6 episodes.
Yeah, but they're long.
Yeah, but for what they cover,
True.
this one is like 10 episodes or something, and I just lost track of where we were at in the disaster, and they just tell you every detail of everything that happened in such sort of excruciating detail. You lose the sense of like rising action and where we're at in terms of the tension of the story.
Yeah.
Still enjoyed it all, and it's cool that it's Japanese. Like just seeing that story playing out in a non-Western culture is very interesting, which is similar, which I loved about Chernobyl as well, in that sort of Soviet Union era culture as well. That's the human elements of how they manage the terrible disaster is great. So people should check it out. Just call it Fukushima. I mean, I'm sorry. What are you doing?
They did that for Chernobyl already. One of my...
They didn't call Chernobyl Fukushima. What are you talking about?
No, they called it Chernobyl.
Come on, Isaac. Use your
Which is the
brain.
location.
Isaac, we've got a lot of competition, okay? And we can't be making lapses like that.
One of my favorite... Well, like, it's a sad but happy story of an occurrence that happened because of the Fukushima
Oh, yeah.
events was
Godzilla?
that a whole bunch of aged people, like older generation people, were like volunteering to help clean up because all the effects from radiation sicknesses and stuff they were going to get weren't on set for like 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
So they're like, I'll gladly contract
on
whatever you're going to do. I'll help clean up so you guys don't have to. I think that is, that's like phenomenally like good human.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I guess so. Still just super dark.
Super dark. But
Like, hey, old people, stop playing chess.
well, I
We
don't.
need you to go clean up this nuclear reactor.
don't think-
Because we all know you're fucked regardless.
I don't like to look at it as though they were asked. I like to look at it as though a couple of old folks in
Their
their
sense
little
of civic duty.
home are like,
How's
hey,
the-
Gary, you want to go do some cleaning up?
How's
Yeah,
the
mate.
how's the cleanup going? Well, very slowly.
My knuckles hurt.
Unfortunately, the entire cleanup crew, their arthritis is really acting up, and one of them broke a wheel on his walker, so he
He's got
hasn't.
those little tennis balls.
So he hasn't moved much radioactive waste today. But you know, slowly,
It's happening.
movie nuclear wasty, as they say.
Movie nuclear. What?
All right, we're talking about younger and younger, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 1993 movie in which Brendan Fraser was one of the actors. It's a comedy film.
No, it's not.
Yeah. It's a.
Just because it says that
I'd
doesn't mean
say
it
it's
is.
an absurdist kind of. I think the charitable way to describe it is expressionist.
I just want to
film.
call it absurd.
It is absurd. Co-written and directed by Percy Adlon, a German director. And he's done a whole bunch of stuff, won a bunch of awards. This looks like it's one of his only English language films.
Okay.
So we've got a German director for a comedy film. So trouble's brewing. Yeah, got him again.
Take that, the country of Germany.
And it stars Donald Sutherland and Brendan Fraser as the sort of the main two who are throughout the whole thing. Julie Delpy in a smaller role. Sally Kellerman as Zigzag Lillian.
And Linda Hunt's back again.
And the fantastic return to the Brendan Fraser filmography of Linda Hunt. Not just Linda Hunt, but Linda Hunt narration.
True, yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever get this again. But
No.
this is the Brendan Fraser double bill of Linda Hunt narration. $20 and then Younger and Younger. Isaac, did you like it?
No, not at all.
Okay. Whoa.
It is fucking shit. Did you like it? Sorry.
No.
Good.
I did not like it. I found it very unsettling.
It was so hard to watch.
It is hard to
very
watch.
Very rarely, I can't specifically remember times when this has happened before. I watched 30 minutes of this movie and turned it off and took a break.
Yeah, it's a lot to go through all at one time.
Did not want to keep going. Like I forced myself to watch this movie.
You know what this reminded me of? Going back to our Daniel Craig filmography.
Was it the monkey one?
No, Hotel Splendide.
See, yes, I had the same thing.
Big Hotel Splendide energy coming off this movie of just everything weirdly gross and
feels
off.
yuck, yeah.
But I do think a lot of that is on purpose. It's meant. I think it is.
Yes.
It's not meant to be just a fun, knockabout family drama comedy. It's meant to be weird, and so I'm trying to meet it on its own terms.
What I think the thing about Hotel Splendide is, though, thinking back on that,
Which is a film about a weird hotel that with this
Hotel
creepy,
Splendide
gross
was like
family
early
in
2000s
it.
or late 90s?
Early 2000s.
Right. The production value on Hotel Splendide is so much higher than this.
Yep.
Like,
they
yes, it's a yuck film, and
Yeah.
everything seems slimy and sickly.
Yeah, in a sort of Roald Dahl-y, Tim Burton-y kind
It
of
is,
way.
but it feels like they've actually done that on purpose and like built this themselves and gone out of their way to do this. This film just feels like they found a shitty rundown storage container place. And we're like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to use this same hallway 18 times.
Yeah, we have this much money. We're giving it all to Donald Sutherland. And we're hoping
we quote-unquote act.
To quote-unquote act. To just Sutherland around.
Yeah, mate.
And he's bringing a lot to the role.
Yeah, but is
So
it shit?
overarching summary, there's a storage facility in Los Angeles run by Donald Sutherland and his wife Penny, played by Lolita Davidovich. And
that is a badass surname.
Yeah, the whole name really rolls off the tongue. And he's a demon, and she does everything and is very put upon. And then she dies, and Brendan Fraser is the son that comes back to help, and it all falls apart because the dad goes into some sort of like ghost psychosis, I think.
Uh-huh.
Lots of things about this do not work. and frankly, don't make any sense at all. And people do not act in the way that people would behave. Like, I can't get inside the mind of anyone in this film.
Me neither.
Or their reactions to everything seem weirdly timed and disproportionate.
It's like a lot of them aren't overacting, but it feels like they're overacting.
Well, I can't imagine how they're seeing the things that are happening around them, you know? And just the central conceit, I guess, that around of what it's like to be running a small storage facility in suburban Los Angeles, and just the absolute high life of philandering and social connections that apparently that embeds you in.
So many people.
The just constant stream of women that apparently you have access to as a result of owning a storage facility just doesn't make any fucking sense. And it's not played as a joke. Like, this could be a character who has a really inflated and inaccurate assessment of his own life.
It's played as he is correct.
But he is depicted as having frequent sexual liaisons with the customers of his storage facility. And that's just not what the world is. That just really cripples anything that could come after it, because what are we doing?
A lot of the fact that there are people running businesses from storage containers and things, that is stuff that does happen. Like, I've met people who run their little woodshop businesses out of a storage container because it's a workshop that's just enclosed and you can keep your shit there real safe.
Oh, you can set a film in a storage facility.
Oh, yeah, like that.
It's a library of stories.
Great. We tried to write a musical about storage once.
We had, from the perspective of the storage, as far as I remember.
I think so, yeah.
And, you know, it flows out. It bloody writes itself. Storage-based
stories. It's a magical place.
Philandering playboy, white-suited owner of storage facility does not stand up at all, and I don't know what they're thinking.
I don't get it, and I don't get how it is supposed to be entertaining.
And that's just level one of what is fucked about this movie.
It's also the first 35 minutes is just him being. He's not even being sleazy. Like, if he was a disgusting sleaze, he's just being weird.
He's being weird, and he's being romantic. He's like romancing the female customers of his storage facility, who are incredibly into it.
Yeah, for some reason they are so into it.
I mean, you know what it's like when you're putting stuff into storage.
And
memories.
Donald Sutherland comes up.
Time of change. Suddenly Donald Sutherland is there.
He's got a massive pipe organ for some reason.
He's got a massive organ. Sparks will fly. Let's go through the plot. The Fraser's Edge episode on this movie is 27 minutes long.
Nice. Because they hated it?
I loved it. They just run out of steam immediately as they start talking about. Anyway, there was really. Anyway, that's that one. They just move on. I'm like, respect. I wish we could do that.
It gives a level of, like, they'll say a lot of stuff about things they like.
Yeah.
About Brendan Fraser and Brendan Fraser's films, so that's cool. Like, we'll talk of good things about good things.
Yeah.
And if anything is shit.
Whereas for us, I feel like the worse it is, the longer we talk about it.
Okay, this is a film.
That's why Lara Croft Tomb Raider is 3 hours.
What do you mean? That's a great film.
So we open once again with Linda Hunt narration. It's really setting the scene that it's Los Angeles.
There are so many things about her storyline that creep me the fuck out.
I couldn't follow it at all.
So Linda Hunt is narrating about the City of Angels,
Yeah.
And she's on her way.
This is the city where everyone comes to make it big.
She's telling a story, which I don't get. But in the story, she talks about basically Penny and whatever the dad's name is. Jonathan. Jonathan Younger. And they own a storage facility.
Boy, do they.
And she goes there every day and asks to be locked inside her storage container.
Yeah.
To work on her book, which she's been writing. But the first time we see her, she has a little fold-up toilet, which is literally a toilet seat on a couple of legs and a plastic bag taped to the bottom of it. And she puts that in the corner of her little storage room, then gets locked in for the day to write.
Yeah, so, so they're clearly serving a range of clients, some of whom are deeply mentally unwell, it would appear. This could be the same character for Linda Hunt.
From the last film.
From the previous film, where she's gotten together a little bit, she's housed.
She won several $100s on the lottery.
She won several $100, and now she's really just devoted to this book.
Telling the story of how she won the lottery.
And has a phobia of normal toilets.
It was just the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
And like I was expecting for when they opened the door later in the day, at least somebody to react to the fact that she had a plastic bag for a dunny.
Well, she's probably got it packed away by then, in her pocket.
It would still waft in that room.
She's probably got it in just in her backpack.
Just like tied up, but attached to the end of her leash.
Yeah.
Like everyone does with a little black bag of dog stuff.
Yeah, so that's not good. None of that's nice.
It doesn't start great.
But they're like, this is storage where people hide, forget, and rediscover their stuff. Just really like romanticizing the storage industry.
Yeah. In a very bad way, because it's like...
Which is weird because Donald Sutherland's character Jonathan is a terrible person. Mm-hmm. But the film really feels like it's mostly on his side the whole time.
It ends on his side.
It ends on his side. And the fact that the narrator is also like storage, what an amazing world and industry. Who could have ever believed, that it's such a great place. I mean, I'm not having a go at the storage industry, but I feel like if you work in it, you have a fairly sober understanding of what it is you're contributing. It's an important role, but you're not like the owner of a casino. You're not like this is where the town comes together and where politics and intrigue develop. But it's one of the dullest things you could do.
If you're the owner of the storage facility, you own the facility. You have no idea what people are putting in it. Yeah. Nor do you care.
I don't think you're meant to.
You're just being like, are there bodies in your stuff? No? Good. Go for your life.
Well, I would say it doesn't matter if there are bodies. If you can't smell nothing, it's none of your business.
You're happy. Yeah.
So I feel like as a storage facility owner, you know that a lot of your money is coming in from crime. People have to store money.
You would make that assumption. Yes.
So, you don't want to be involved.
But anyway, Jonathan is heavily involved.
He's heavily involved. Younger senior. He's just the happiest person in the world.
I'd give it.
He's dancing, he's singing, he's going out for breakfast, just being a creep every minute of the day. High spirits, wearing a white suit. That's his signature white suit. And then it starts off just sort of showing him
be a creep,
having his or pursuing his liaisons. There's a woman bringing in her stuff because women are constantly bringing their stuff in. They never store anything. It's only stuff coming in and out. This place is a constant flurry of shit going in and coming out. No one puts their stuff in and comes back 6 months later. There's a real churn of
the activity of the storage facility is massive.
And he the woman goes to drop the box and he catches it. And the lights turn into stage lights, and it's one of those a wowzer scenes.
That fucking pissed me off through this entire film. The lighting changes and the color changes.
Yeah.
To try and make it, which I get, it's
it's
a part of the expressionist stuff. But Jesus Christ!
I just don't know what it's doing. I don't know what I'm meant to take from it. Oh yeah, he's like, I think is this is what's her name? This is Julie Delpy actually. Melody.
Melody, yeah.
And he's like, I'll show you my organ. Get it? And he has a real church organ in the basement.
Did you get the backstory from the church organ bit? No. That was given by one character later on in the film?
No, missed that.
So, an old woman approaches Brendan Fraser's character when we get to him and literally just tells him the backstory of why there is an organ here. She's like, my husband dropped an organ off here 30 years ago, and he was talking about it before he died, but I just wanted to let you know that I don't need it anymore.
And Donald Sutherland was like,
Sutherland
excellent.
Put it together
I love playing the organ
in his fucking attic.
in my storage facility attic and showing it to women.
And it's not even like an aged pipe organ.
I mean,
it's a
what-
big electrical pipe organ.
Yeah, I mean that's a great opener, isn't it? You know,
Is it?
I mean, if you're trying to flirt with someone,
Could you imagine inviting someone to your workplace
want to come into the attic above
Your
where I
home
work,
slash
where my wife
workplace.
works?
and showing them a pipe organ in the attic?
I'm going to play it now. You're going to listen. Julie Delpy loves it.
She does.
She's very comforted by this at this time, at this difficult time.
Well, it's
Her
written by
mum
Hamza.
is Zigzag Lillian, who's like a famous actress who's accused of murder. Sounds like I'm making this up off the top of my head. I'm just repeating what they made up off the top of their head, I think. She has a chat to Penny, the wife, and is like, you look like shit. And she's like, it's because... He's like, you shouldn't be working so hard. And he's like, well, it's not. And she's like, it's not the work, implying it's my terrible husband.
Mm-hmm.
So she runs the whole business.
Yes.
And Donald
apparently it's an
Sutherland-
extremely stressful business to run.
Yeah, it's really. Well, it's the high pace, high pressure environment of storage, Isaac. You have to understand.
It's the stress of somebody leaving their belongings somewhere and not looking at them for 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Dangerous.
It's like
It never ends, really. Wow.
yeah.
You can't see it being boring.
No, it's the uncut gems of logistics. That works, doesn't it?
Logistics works, yeah.
That's a something.
Freight and logistics.
Freight and
It's like the end of the line.
Then we finally get Brendan on screen at about minute 18. And he's calling saying he needs some more money. And Jonathan Donald Sutherland is like, yeah, don't worry about it. And he and his son love each other. They are just completely cut from the same cloth, apparently. Yeah. And just like, I'm not this happy to see my dad.
I mean, I'm happy to see my dad, but I'm not going to be that happy.
I'm like overjoyed. Like like when they see each other, it's like they both thought the other one was dead and it's suddenly been revealed that they're fine. And Donald Sutherland is just pumped about working with his son.
Mm.
The whole plan is that the younger is going to come back and is going to work, and then they'll be younger and younger, which they are already presumably because his wife has the same last name anyway. So basically, because Zigzag Lillian came by,
Yep.
such a funny name, and he's asleep when it happened. And Penny, his wife, didn't tell him. And he just absolutely loses it. And he's angry.
Our most important
Because
customer. She didn't get money from our most important customer or something like this. And he chucks a tantrum.
But like, she is a customer because Julie Delpy's putting the stuff in. She's her daughter. But he just didn't get to meet her and I guess form the kind of strong interpersonal connection that's needed in the storage industry.
That's required for him to have
that really
carnal
beds it
relations
down
with this person.
Yeah, I guess it's just that, isn't it? And yes, and he's very angry. He's like, we're missing out on the murderer clients. And he starts jumping up and down. He jumps through the floor, so the floor breaks under him, and then he just loses it at his wife. He says, "I hate you. You think I married you just to get a green card to get in on your parents' business here?" So he didn't even start the business. It is entirely the wife's business and her family business, and he is just an absolute parasite on the side of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Irredeemable.
It would seem.
Then he starts to lose it, saying he's going to use all their money to make a big new sign for the roof. And to de-escalate the situation, Penny fires a gun into the roof and hits the organ. Which kind of does work. It does stop him in his tracks a little bit. And then he gets his motorcycle out of storage. He parks it every night at the top of the storage unit. And he rides off to the club and goes dancing with some floozy. This is what he loves to do.
Yes.
He's just like napping all day and just glad-handing, and then he goes and dances with other women. Penny stays at home. She's just self-caring. the whole time.
Yeah,
she's
she's
got
just-
pills, foot bath, having some chips, having an early night. I was
She
like,
has a
good for you,
relaxing
Penny.
time.
Yeah. She's having a good time with her friends, her and Linda Hunt having good chats. Linda Hunt's wearing a visor. I liked that.
The sound in this film, though, at this point, it started to get too much for me, the way that they done their audio.
Okay.
Because for this entire scene of her eating, it's very loud, right in you. Because I watch movies with headphones on. I like to hear
You
them.
want to get up in there.
It was confronting for such a nice, peaceful moment for this person who never gets a reprieve. It didn't give me a reprieve.
Yeah.
And then it just got worse in the next scene.
Percy Adlon doesn't want you to relax for one moment during this film, and I didn't. All the boys riding off on their bikes in their white suits, just like the lamest motorcycle gang ever. I like that. So Younger Self Storage, its logo is 3 pyramids for some reason, and I kind of like that because it's like where you store things that are dead and useless in grandiose style.
Yeah.
You know, there's something in that. So anyway, the next day, Penny's talking to this woman, and they're like high school friends. This friend, and she also she has a bit more life to her.
And this woman,
she's vivacious, you might say.
literally says to Penny, "Your life's really shit. You should fucking divorce your husband. He's a dickhead.
Yeah, he's a terrible man.
He's
obviously.
still being a dickhead? Oh, well, leave him."
Yeah. Jonathan just storms in, like scoops her up, basically.
Yeah, and she is
Takes her up.
immediately taken with him for some reason.
She's immediately
after
overpowered.
dissing him to her best high school friend.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just another time when people just don't act
you
like
haven't
people.
changed. Wow.
Yeah, and he takes her
then-
up to his organ room, and we have one of the most upsetting sex scenes I've ever seen.
When, like,
Just incredibly clothed.
and she screams, but like a monkey scream?
Yeah.
Like, it is literally the screaming of a monkey in the night in the jungle somewhere.
Well,
That's the noise she's making.
I've never seen two people having sex so relentlessly without anyone taking off a single piece of clothing and laughing the whole time. Like neither of them can stop laughing for a single second
It's hilarious.
on a giant organ. And
it's being very loud.
fucking Looney Tunes shit, man.
It's fucking stupid. And it goes for too long.
It goes on and on and on.
And during this, downstairs, Penny is attempting to do her job, can't because of the noise, and
this
she
is-
begins to have the most comically stupid heart attack.
Yeah, this
And-
is the last straw for her body.
She flails around on her office chair,
And spins in loads of circles.
spins in
before
circles,
slowly coming
eventually
to the ground.
falls to the ground after having her massive heart attack and dies.
Yeah, and I guess is that meant to be funny?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it's because she heard
And
her
it is a
husband having
comedy.
such riotous sex with her best high school friend.
Yeah.
And then she's found by one of the clients of the storage facility, who then runs away going and yelling the words, "Penny's unwell.
Yeah. And then someone
Penny's
comes in
unwell."
and they do CPR in the form of just shouting the word breathe.
Yeah,
over
but it's
and
off screen though, so it's okay. So they could be doing proper CPR
and yelling breathe
and
at
yelling
the same
breathe,
time.
breathe, breathe.
Yeah, that does help a lot.
Yeah. If you
If you-
do CPR off screen,
Yeah.
it means they're doing it right.
I mean, if there's CPR in a movie, I've got to say something about
Correct.
it. And if you're yelling the word breathe, you're really using up important cardiovascular energy you should be devoting to the compressions. But anyway, and Jonathan comes upon this scene and just looks out the window.
When he walks in with the woman he's just been screwing,
Yep.
she again does the same sex scream
Oh,
at the dead body of her friend, and it pissed me off something fierce.
it's an all-purpose scream. Muzz.
It's not.
Some people only have one scream, okay? We can't all just have a Rolodex of screams for every situation. Sometimes you just get one that works and you stick with it.
It hurt me. But yeah, he turns around, does not look sad at all.
Well, no, he's
Stares
not
out the
sad.
window.
He wouldn't be because he had no affection for her at all. But I think he's just thinking in that moment, this is going to be a problem for me
Yeah.
at a
Oh,
purely
how do I-
financial, physical level because she did all the work. So I think, because his character is basically a narcissistic psychopath.
Yep.
essentially.
I'd give it. He's a
And
Bateman with
so-
no plan.
Yeah. Does Bateman have a plan? He seems to be sort of...
I mean, he takes revenge on certain people.
Yeah, I mean, the nicest thing you can say about Donald Sutherland's character is he doesn't directly murder people with his hands.
True.
You
Yep.
know?
Except, I guess, himself later, but it's an accident.
No, I mean, that's the angel psychosis.
Yeah.
That's more of an accident.
It's very weird.
So Brendan comes home. He's very, very excited. And he's revealed to be a dickhead as well immediately.
The whole airport meeting scene
just abandons his luggage trolley and
uncomfortable as fuck.
pisses everyone off.
So there's a guard railing at the airport that you wait behind for your relatives to walk out of the entranceway with their luggage. Donald Sutherland leaps over this guardrail, runs down into the midst of hundreds of people in their carriages,
Yeah.
pushing their luggage.
And
Brendan
you've
Fraser
just got off a flight. You're not in the mood for any of this bullshit. You're just
Brendan
trying to get
Fraser
out of there.
just lets go of his trolley,
Yeah.
and they giggle and embrace each other, and they're jumping around and
Yeah.
having just this wonderful meeting.
And the
the
trolley
trolley
just-
is just pushed by several people into the distance.
Well, it just starts ping-ponging through the crowd, and
It's-
everyone's like, what the fuck are you
Everyone's
doing?
clearly pissed
So
off.
the movie does know this is bad behavior. Because it's showing other people
the
respond
fucking
to it.
trolley for some reason while they're having their meet cute, and then Donald Sutherland fake cries, and Brendan Fraser's like, "Oh, it's okay, Dad."
Oh, yeah, he does
He
do.
fake cries.
He pretends to be
puts
sad
his
about
hands on
the...
his face and goes,
And he's wearing a black suit there. That's the only time he does that.
because he's mourning.
I think he's so... my reading is he's just trying to manipulate Brendan Fraser as early as he can
Yeah.
into saying, I need you to run the business. And so very early on, Donald Sutherland's character is having visions of Penny. Very quick.
Yeah,
Like
straight after
sometimes-
she's dead, he
Sometimes
sees her.
blink and you miss it. Penny's standing around. And I felt like this needed to be scarier.
I mean, it'd be more entertaining if it was scarier, and not just her getting slightly more attractive every time.
Yeah, well, they've aged that actor up a lot when she was alive, and then they're just slowly taking that makeup away, which worked relatively well.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, over time, she's getting younger and younger. And he like falls back in love with the ghost of her, but not back in love. He just becomes attracted to her again because he's just a completely shallow guy. And I'm not really sure what to do with that.
Yeah, me neither. It's also weird that it affects so much of his life and other people's lives, and of him just seeing her, but not once does somebody mention it.
Yeah,
Like
there's lots
he
of
has an entire lunch with Brendan after Brendan realizes that the business is failing and is trying to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald Sutherland just keeps slipping out the fucking door every time you go, "Hey mate, hey dad, I need some information about the business."
Yeah, like Brendan coming home. This is the start of the movie.
It should.
It happens at minute 35, but this is the start of the story. The inciting event happens half an hour in, so that's a problem. And so then all the stuff that is the actual emotional journey of these characters, of him confronting these visions of his wife and Brendan's character realizing that his dad is an absolute piece of shit, that happens in a really disjointed and rushed way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the movie's an hour and a half long, and more than half an hour into it is when we really start any sort of like story.
Yeah, that's when because the conflict is between Donald Sutherland and this ghost vision, and between him and Brendan Fraser.
Mm-hmm.
And none of that gets going until that point. Brendan Fraser is also a weirdly terrible guy in some ways.
Yeah, he's just a bit strange too, but I
He's
think
not
that's...
sad about his mum.
No.
Doesn't give a shit about
They go
that.
to the grave, and he does a little tear thing, and Donald's like, "It's okay." He's like, "Oh, it's just jet lag, Dad." What?
Yeah, well, that could just be him, Well, their relationship is bizarre.
Uh-huh.
They're like they have that evening together where they're hanging out like bros. Brendan refuses to put pants on the whole time, which is pleasing a certain demographic. But he's pantsless the whole time. They they watched like a Monty Python animation of the Zigzag murder on the news and just are like laughing at that. And that's very strange because what that wouldn't be on the news. And that's clearly like an Unreal expressionist maybe component. But the way they're laughing at it, these felt like Clockwork Orange characters at this point. The way they were
They had a giggle.
Just indifferent to murder and destruction and violence and death. And he like drops pizza on himself and falls asleep in a really kind of gross way while Thomas Sutherland's like giving him his monologue about what an amazing time it is working in storage.
Like,
He says,
I love you, son.
The most exciting thing is the constant stream of women. I mean, we've made this point. But this movie hits this point so many times.
Well, maybe LA. People need to store more things.
More women.
More women in LA need to store things.
And young, attractive women, because they're the only ones that he really sees.
Because they're all attempting to become actresses.
Yeah, obviously.
And therefore their apartments have to be bare so that the big film producers can be brought over. And all their actual belongings have to be kept in storage.
What? Well...
Because you can't have belongings...
Why is the film producer coming over to their house? This sounds...
Because that's what LA was
troublesome.
Pretty much like. All these creepy film producers, right? Taking advantage of...
Well, yes, but I didn't feel like they were just doing the rounds of people's apartments.
Homes, yeah. They were brought into the offices.
And also, I don't think Harvey Weinstein would open the door and be like, you got stuff here? This is off.
Harvey Weinstein would have a fucking storage container somewhere.
I'm seeing framed photos. I'm seeing books. You're giving me the ick. I'm out of here.
Ew.
Did not want to know that. That's my Harvey Weinstein impression.
Did not want to know.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Yeah. Anyway, so he has more visions, and like something always happens. I mean, like he falls into a box. Lots of falling into boxes here. That seems to be the one thing.
That's
the one stunt they knew how to do.
And all the boxes are empty, but full of packing peanuts.
Yeah, and
that's the best thing to do with the
stacked
box.
Haphazardly to make a sort of cushioning. And so then I realize here this is our first sort of nerdy Brendan. Pardon me.
Yeah, he knows
because we've got
that
glasses.
they need a computer.
And he's like G. Willikers gazoinks, the check bounced kind of thing. Lots of wear and ties.
He's also making a different accent.
He's not his dad. Yeah, he's got...
His voice is higher in this film.
He's got a weird sort of high staccato way of talking.
Which is clearly a choice.
Yeah, he's doing some acting, isn't he?
Acting choice.
Yeah. So, that's all... I mean, poor Brendan. He's going to do something.
Yeah.
You get Brendan in, he's going to make some choices. He's going to make the role his own. And so tension starts to grow because he realizes that his dad is just a complete waste of space. Oh, yeah, during that sex scene, they so there's rabbits in the storage unit.
Oh, God.
There's a subplot of rabbits.
Fucking rabbit shit.
During the sex scene, we sort of cut to the rabbits fucking for the one, then cut back. Then cut to the tragic death of the mum, and then cut back. So it's a real whirlwind at certain points. They celebrate Brendan Fraser's graduation. His name is Winston Churchill Younger. What is just relentless? This movie. So many weird things. The rabbits get out during that celebration, and then that scene just ends.
Yep.
Then we actually have a relatively human interaction where Brendan sort of complains to Linda Hunt about what's going on, and Linda's like, "Yeah, your dad is the worst.
Your mum ran
You
the
didn't
place.
realize that he's...
How did you not know?
I mean, look at him. Does he look like a man who keeps the books for a storage unit complex?
He has never taken off that suit since he purchased it.
No, the sweat marks are obscene." And Winston Churchill Younger just flips on a dime. Like, he goes from "my dad is the best man in the world" to "I'm going to strangle him." Like, he is immediately furious. And he runs up to Donald Sutherland. This is where he's like, "No more 3-hour cat naps." In that way of talking. Yeah. And this is when he screams at the leaf blower. That might be the best part of the whole movie.
That is really great, yeah.
The leaf blower scream, real highlight.
And that guy's just doing his job.
Yeah. This is the bit where we just skipped a bunch of scenes where he's yelling at him. He's like, you're sick in the head. He's like, and I'm like, yes, but how did you, just from this one Linda Hunt conversation, Jonathan just bounces. He gets his motorcycle out.
Yeah, he slowly gets. That's when the old woman tells the story about the pipe.
Oh,
organ.
I didn't. Oh, yeah, that woman. Yeah. Oh, I wasn't listening to what she was saying.
Because there's a set of stairs there, and we get 45 seconds of Donald Sutherland just ignoring his son yelling at him. He gets on a scissor lift, and it takes him up where the stairs are just there, and then he brings out his motorbike.
Scissor lift your bike out every time you want to go somewhere. Especially if you're someone like him, because I feel like you'd be wanting to leave situations quickly quite often.
Or maybe he just loves his scissor lift so much.
Yeah.
Fucking dickhead.
Yeah, he seems like the kind of guy who could have a scissor lift fetish.
He does. He really does. It rises.
The return to Brendan Fraser filmography of the scissor lift, actually, because there's the coffin in 20 bucks. Let's see if there's any more scissor lifts coming up. So then he sees Penny again. They have a bit more of a conversation, and she says it, and she. So I didn't like that she starts talking and stuff, and there's all this heaven stuff.
Is it from when they're having lunch with Brendan?
That's the next bit.
Okay.
I think this is like at the club or something. She says, "In heaven, you grow backwards."
Oh yeah, you slowly get.
And I didn't actually mind this, which is he says to when you. When you were the most beautiful, or to a baby.
No, to when you thought you were the most beautiful.
It says, she actually says, you grow backwards until the age you liked yourself the best.
That's kind of nice.
That's actually quite powerful. That's kind of quite sad, isn't it? To think back.
Yeah. See how far she goes back.
Yeah.
That's depressing for the character.
And to reflect, like, when did I most like myself? Because it sure isn't now. Is it?
It's like the age of 10, you're like, yeah, I feel good now. I feel great.
And will it come back? Because obviously that feeling's going to peak and trough. But yeah, that's quite a powerful idea. But I don't like the idea that she is actually Penny's ghost, because the way she behaves towards him is completely inexplicable in that case.
Yes,
because she loves him and forgives him, and everything's fine, and you're a top bloke, mate. And he
well, maybe it's all
he killed her by putting so much psychological pressure on her through relentless infidelity and disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't know why she, after she dies, like, you know what, you're fine.
You could read it as that it's clearly a guilt hallucination on his part, because he knows his life is now falling apart because the son's not going to do the same thing. So, like, he has this guilt hallucination continuously.
See, that makes... But
he tries to put a gleam on it. He's like, it can't be bad.
Yeah. He does have little moments of feeling guilty. Or he says, I want you to forgive me. That's probably the most human thing he does, is at least expressing the desire to be forgiven for his terrible actions. Because a lot of the time he doesn't seem to really perceive that he's done anything that bad.
Or anything. Doesn't perceive much.
Yeah. No. Well, that's what it's like when all you can perceive is yourself. The whole world is seen just in terms of your own needs and wants.
We cut to Brendan Fraser in the office of the storage facility, and there are like 30 people here yelling at him about certain things. It is a busy day.
All the storage issues that come up.
So many storage issues.
Mold.
That can't be like...
Rats.
They've all got to be handled at that specific moment at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
On this one random Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then one guy leans in and goes, hey, your dad wants to have lunch with you. And we just cut to them having lunch. It's like...
Yeah, so they have this weird lunch. This is the
weirdest scene.
I can see how they're trying to do a comedy scene here, but it's I don't like it that Donald is seeing his now young hot wife super laid over. Super laid?
His young hot son.
Oh, his young hot son. I mean, the son, undeniably young and hot. The fact that he's now seeing, instead of him, the wife to whom he's now profoundly attracted,
and he's having
and
a
they
conversation
physically
with
interact
both of them?
under that auspice. Not good.
No, like, and
Boo
the
and
fact
hiss
that
to that.
Donald Sutherland is having a conversation with his ghost wife.
Yeah.
that works with Brendan Fraser's conversation.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't show Brendan Fraser that this guy's hallucinating. They just have their conversation, and Brendan Fraser thinks everything is fine.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, of course I love you. Everything's fine. They have a hug. No. Then everything really escalates. Because
Then everything really
yeah, kind of out of nowhere, when Jonathan goes up, he's having some organ time. You know, when he's got to decompress, you're like, I'm just gonna go.
We've all had these moments when you have to go play a pipe organ.
I'm gonna go spend some time working my organ. And then some guy, there's I think an employee who witnessed the heart attack and heard all of the organ fucking. Mm-hmm. And so he kind of knows the relationship between those two events.
He's the guy storing the rabbits.
Oh, that's
He's
Rabbit
the
Man.
rabbit guy. Yeah, that's how he comes in.
So Bugs over here comes up to Brendan and is like, just so you know, I forget exactly what he says, but he's like, your dad killed your mum by having sex on the organ really loudly, like comically loudly. And Brendan really loses it at this point. There's like Dutch angles on him as he storms up to confront Donald Sutherland. Oh, he goes upstairs and he starts throwing rocks at the younger and younger sign. That sign looked great.
That sign did look great.
It's apparently made out of fireworks because every rock that hits the lights goes and just like sparks arc across the night
spends
sky.
like 8 minutes busting it up. Like it takes a weirdly long time.
Yeah, and good for him. Burn this whole place down as far as I'm concerned.
With the stuff in it,
With
too.
the stuff. Those people should know better. I mean, as soon as Penny is gone, everyone should be pulling their stuff out of there immediately. Yeah. Like, if you're Linda Hunt, you can't trust Donald Sutherland to lock you in your little poo room.
Yeah, you're never going to get out. Someone's going to burn the building down and you're going to be locked inside a storage container.
Yeah. I mean, just the stale air in there. Think about it.
It doesn't sound fun.
The vision of Penny sort of lures Donald Sutherland forward and lures him out of the door off the roof. And he falls off the roof of the storage unit into some boxes and is just fine.
Yep.
Zigzag Lillian wanders in. I swear that's her name. And this character is a lot of fun. She's sort of from the 30s and has a big like hat.
She wears the headscarf.
Hat with headscarf coming off the brim of the hat at night. Who cares? And she sort of comes in and sort of takes control of the situation. Don't know what she was doing there. And it's like, get some towels and water. You see, he's fallen. And you know, she's sort of.
She's murdered someone, so she knows how to keep control in stressful situations.
That's blood. There was lots of this when I murdered that man. Yeah, so she's doing sort of Kate Blanchett in The Aviator. And then, okay, this hurts to even say. He sees his dead Penny, and she walks off on a date with Zigzag Lillian's dead husband. So now there's another ghost. And they have a fun little back and forth where one of them says, have you ever made love on a cloud? And he says, do you prefer hard or soft clouds? This is just a fever dream at this point. Donald Sutherland's telling Zigzag Lillian what he's seeing. And she's like, oh my God, now my husband is there? Gee willikers. And then they just wander off and like merge into the lights of a fire truck or something. And you're like, oh, okay, the ghosts are gone. The visual, I mean...
Yeah.
This is actually, there's no way to break this down.
No, it doesn't make sense.
I can't get purchase on this at all.
It doesn't make sense.
It's like trying to understand the dream of a madman.
And then there was a purple monster.
Jonathan gets up, goes back up to the roof, and is like saying stuff. I want to be young with her. I want her to give me. He and Brendan both fall off the roof. So he falls off the roof a second time. Is fine again. They just pop out of the bushes. Brendan sort of shakes that off and walks off with, what's her name?
Delphi.
Delpy. Yeah. And they have a scene from another movie.
Her name is Melodies.
Yeah. And she says, and he's like, God, my dad's a real piece of work, an absolute jerk. This is terrible. I can't believe I just fell 3 stories and I'm fine. And
they have a lovely date and go dancing.
Well, she says, hey, I know he seems like an absolute monster, but he played the organ for me once, and it was nice, and I liked it. So he's not all bad. He touched my heart, she says. So
wanted to touch other things, but
yeah. So she's out of her mind as well. Clearly, this Melody character is not reading the room at all, and is trying to convince Brendan that no, your dad isn't evil. So get rid of her. Not liking that. And then Jonathan is now wild and out. Donald Sutherland is just losing it. He's tearing the storage unit apart.
Yep.
So I kind of enjoyed this. It's like, yeah, destroy that place. Winston and Melody, they're looking for him because they realise he's gone mad.
Realise that they left the gates open.
And he's gone to the club again. And he's trying to find Penny. He's trying to get the vision back.
Yeah.
And so
the organ's playing itself. Turns out he can't actually play it. You press a button and it plays.
Oh, I missed that. Well, that's not at all surprising. They get to the dance club. He's dancing with people and they're looking at him like he's out of his mind.
Yeah, because he's going one by one to try and make one person look like his ghost.
Yeah, and see, like that could be good. Like that.
That could be a
weird
scene.
The story of a man chasing the vision of his wife that has now left him. Like that could be. That could be good. It's
not what we get really.
It's all weird in this, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's some film criticism for you.
It's all weird, eh?
It's all weird. So then they all get to the club, and
Brendan Fraser's about to lay into him.
Yeah, and he seems to come to some sort of realization that, actually everything's fine.
Yeah.
They all dance together for a while.
Well, no. They get to the club, and then old Zigzag's there, and she's like, I'll handle this. She goes over and dances with Donald Sutherland.
Yeah.
And then Brendan and Melody, they start dancing.
Yeah. So you could think, then where you might think it's going is, he's dancing with someone who's the same age as him.
Mm.
And
this is him learning
and to
move on.
Maybe he could be attracted, since that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, this murderer.
Like his lust for the young ghost version of his wife he's being distracted from that by this real live person in front of him. And you're like, maybe he's growing and developing. 100% not. That's definitely not what's happening. They all dance for a bit. Winston and Melody kiss. Everything's going great. Don Sutherland gets on his motorbike.
He fucks off outside onto his bike.
And he goes off on a ride. The Penny appears on the back of the bike. He turns around and he's very excited because now he can touch her for the first time. That hasn't been able to happen before. And then the bike, the very fake looking bike that's going along, just goes out of frame. And we have like a crash sound.
But it's not even a long crash sound.
I forgot to mention
happens.
When he and Brendan fall off the roof, I like that they put like a cat yowl when they land. Yeah. Just add into the Looney Tunesiness as they land. It's like,
so he dies off screen.
And then what does it cut to? What does it cut to then, Isaac? Do you remember?
Like years later?
No, they cut to then a shot of
he's
Jonathan and Penny in like white Bible heaven robes. Like if they show heaven in the children's Bible.
Yeah, and there's sunset clouds.
And there's pink clouds, and they're rotating on a cloud, just like kissing or hugging or whatever.
Yeah, having fully clothed sex.
And so this, I'm fascinated by what we're meant to take from this. They're kissing, right? So then they rotate, so Donald Sutherland's facing the camera, and he looks up and he winks. No. First of all, Penny looks up at the camera and winks. And you're like, aha, she's some sort of trickster,
demon
ghost, whatever. And because she's lured him to his death.
She's got him.
His pursuit of younger and younger has ended in his destruction. Mm-hmm. Okay, I can get that. But then they keep rotating, and Donald Sutherland looks at the camera, and he winks as well. As if he is in on what has happened. I'm like, no, dude.
No, that's their heaven.
You just lost your mind and died.
But he doesn't de-age to his happiest. He's already at his happiest.
Or he's never been happy.
That could be it too.
You know, because
Maybe that's just hell. You rotate slowly, like inches
Well,
apart
it's
from
hell
another human being for eternity.
it's hell for Penny.
It would be. You rotate slowly, hundreds of miles above the earth, continuously, forever.
It's
and you can't
it's
move.
incoherent to the point that you can't take anything from it.
Then we cut to several years later. It's now called Melody's Storage.
Yeah, Winston and
You
Melody.
got to change the name.
They have a child.
They have a child called Jonathan.
Linda Hunt is narrating again. The storage facility is good now.
It's
Peace-
clean.
Peace has come to the land.
The office is organized. They have
Yeah.
2 computers.
It's all nice and
Yeah, they
tidy.
have pot plants and stuff.
It's all looking great. So good for them. Zigzag Lillian still hanging around,
Yeah, she's a grandmother now.
and she picks up the son, and they look to camera, and then the center of the frame gets cut out like it's a picture,
A postage stamp.
and rotates a little bit, and then the credits roll. Astounding. Absolutely astounding behavior.
I thoroughly hated it. Every moment. There is nothing redeemable. Anything that could be remotely redeemable is then cancelled by the next thing that happens.
Well, no, hang on.
No.
Brendan Fraser's performance is good and fine.
It's always good and fun. It's
He
Brendan Fraser.
He screams at the leaf
He's
blower.
the king of film.
And he is the king of film. And his character, I think, he makes big leaps very quickly,
Yeah,
but they're leaps to where you expected him to get.
I guess.
You know,
But
Donald Sutherland, I've no idea what's going on up there.
that's not acting. What is he doing?
Well, I think he's
Like Donald Sutherland is notoriously known as an actor. It's Donald
Indeed.
Sutherland. He has done acting before.
He has done
He was in
acting.
fucking Kramer vs. That was Donald Sutherland, right?
I don't know. Don't think so.
But like he had a period of time where he was doing proper big guy acting.
yes, and prior to this, he's been winning awards. He's a proper actor.
Yet this fucking shit. It's like he's on
I don't-
speed for the whole thing.
Yeah, but I don't think that's Donald Sutherland's fault.
I do.
think that's what's written on the page and the direction he's being given. I think it's a terribly structured and executed story. And so, all the actors are pretty much fine. And I think Brendan Fraser's character, I think we get a little different side to him. And we get to see him be, a bit of a pencil pusher. And we got to see him scream at a leaf blower, which I'll always be grateful for. But I think the supernatural mechanics of just what is happening is to not just, it's not ambiguous, it's actively inconsistent.
Yeah,
And so that's why it's so hard to follow.
it was not fun.
Okay, so what's your pitch? What's your rewrite for Younger
fix
and
this?
Yeah. What's the good version of Younger and Younger?
This is a slight tangent. I met a filmmaker a couple of years ago
Okay.
who had
Subtle brag.
his great idea for his like feature that he wanted to do, like a new thing, which was literally called Storage Wars. And it was set in a storage facility. It was about the adventures and lives and interconnecting storylines of people who utilize the storage facility, some to run yoga classes, some to do various things. And it was a black comedy.
Okay.
And it involved like a terrorist plot taking place at the thing.
Okay.
And his
Strong
story was great.
premise.
Strong premise.
Nothing wrong with that.
Much better premise than this shit.
Yep. Well, this doesn't... how would you summarize the premise to this?
Dad sees ghosts, son doesn't see ghosts. Dad dies. Yep, so like, I don't know how to rewrite this to be good.
Okay. Well, look,
I think to be good, you take the element of
Brendan Fraser.
guilty dad for cheating on wife, starts seeing ghost of mum, running a business of some kind. I don't want it to be a storage facility because that's fucking pointless.
Well, I mean, there's stuff you can do with a storage facility.
Imagine if the business that they had run for their entire lives was a mortuary, selling coffins
Now,
and shit.
That's much better.
And he like takes advantage of
Because that's black comedy.
That's black comedy. He takes advantage of emotional people.
That is relationships You are meeting new people all the time.
He would have the sleazy ability to take advantage of people in vulnerable situations, and that feeds his need to get around.
Yep.
Wife can die, same sort of way. I don't really want a horrific sex scene, but she should have a heart attack while he's doing something, and he is racked with immense guilt, and therefore starts seeing her ghost in the fucking mortuary, where you would expect to see ghosts, but we don't know if it's real or if it's his guilt thing, anything like that.
Yeah, I think the ghost needs to not say anything.
Yes, it needs to be a horror. It needs to be
everything.
A horror.
Welcome back to Everything Should Be a Horror Film. Yeah. So I mean, to make this into anything, I mean, like there's, you can write a good movie set in a storage unit or whatever, but to restructure this in a way that keeps it, faithful to the vision. I mean, what are the core components of the vision for this movie? I'd say it's slapstick, unrelatable characters, and themes of youth, inertia, regression, and like denial, basically. I think your overarching theme is nostalgia. And the way I would do it is so you have Brendan coming back into the scene. He's nostalgic for like his own childhood and what the family unit used to be like, but that is all gone and has been destroyed.
All the games they used to play.
Yeah. Jonathan is nostalgic for his own youth. And then you've got customers. They're nostalgic for what they're keeping in storage, and they attempt to preserve the past through storage. So that's where that's sort of folded into the theme of the movie. And then the message is like the pursuit of the past. An attempt to lock things into stasis leads only to death and destruction.
Life leads to death.
Well, life does lead to death, obviously, but also resisting the flow of life will hasten it, I guess, or just lead you to a state of some kind of despair and destruction. I think Brendan is the protagonist.
Brendan, yes.
And that needs to come through.
Brendan should have been the protagonist of this version, but we spent way too much time learning about how fucking weird Donald Sutherland's character is.
Yeah, I think there's a version of this where you never even see Penny when she's alive.
Respect.
Just open on the death. I would just open on Brendan on the flight.
Yeah.
Coming home. Because...
Open on funeral.
Yeah, because Donald Sutherland's so terrible, there isn't really a way, I think, to have Penny be alive and be seen as a real person that you connect to, and then die, and then return as his vision in a way that doesn't feel gross and sort of denying her of any sort of agency or anything. I mean, if it is literally her ghost coming back to haunt him, that's fine. But if it's going to be a vision that sort of sometimes says what he wants it to say, there's just no way I can really jive with that if this was also a person who I saw be so put upon. So I'll just have her not be in it, and then maybe you do like one flashback scene halfway through just to show Brendan and her interacting. Yeah. And just paint that in, and then you come back and you don't see it again.
Yeah. Well, and you can have it that Brendan does not know that she ran everything as well. Yeah, Brendan still has that glimmer of my dad does everything, and you go back to that flashback scene, and it's like we get to see that she does everything, but Brendan has this glimmer of my dad is perfect.
Yeah,
and we can then you can feel that pressure that would be on her.
Yeah, and it can be us rather than us knowing from the jump how terrible he is. We sort of learn with Brendan what a narcissistic psychopath his dad is.
Who's hiding bodies in the thing.
Who's probably hiding bodies in the organ. And have Brendan learn that through relationships with the staff and customers. We need some named staff members that are actual secondary characters. Uh-huh. And we need just some better stuff going on in the storage. Have something in the storage unit be relevant to the plot.
Have
somehow.
Like the released rabbits side plot mean something, not just happen every now and then.
Yeah, the rabbits could mean something.
If you have a side plot where the rabbits have been released, don't just like show the rabbits every now and then. Have it mean something. Like somebody also has food stuff here, and they're running a food business out of one of these things. If the rabbits get into that food, it's gonna fuck that shit up.
Yeah, or something like they're gonna be.
Or like 2 rabbits get out at the start of the film, and at the end of the film, there's like 100 rabbits because rabbits.
They're gonna have like accreditation soon. Like the inspector's gonna come,
nice. They
and
gotta
Donald
find them
Sutherland's
all.
let all sorts of shit go on in the storage units, and so that's Brendan's task. Because like what Brendan actually had to do was kind of too vague. It was like money ...
Or the entire plan is for Brendan to come and facilitate the sale of the storage facility.
Could
to
be.
get out of the business. And so the whole thing is him trying to make the storage facility better and like neater and clean and get it ready for sale. End of the film. Doesn't want to sell it anymore because it was his mum's pride and joy. It's a family business. So like that's
a classic plot.
Classic plot.
I think you need a slower development of the Brendan and Dad relationship. Have them spend more time together, ride a motorbike together. I want Brendan go to the club with him and have him see how much he's dancing around.
The ability to have a conversation.
Yeah, he never just talks in a way that isn't crazy. Yeah. And just a bit more dimensionality to him. Like, I would have him, if we're going to stay with storage, have him be actually, because he's obviously got aspirations and visions of himself as this, cool social guy, and have him be clearly like frustrated by how boring the storage facility is. And so he sort of blames Penny for what he sees as his sort of limited life.
Have him be like the guy who thinks he could think that his life is fantastic, but really from the outside we see it as very, very dull and very, very boring.
Yeah.
He needs a potbelly.
Yeah. Yeah, don't make him like handsome Donald Sutherland, Yeah.
And not a white suit.
Yeah, I mean...
It's an uncomfortable visage.
And also, the thing that would... A mortuary is great, could also just be a hotel.
Could definitely be a hotel.
Like a motel, he wants to turn into a hotel. Because then, like, you could conceivably...
A shitty, motel is actually really, really good too.
Yeah.
Because from one angle, you can get the entire thing in a shot. And you get every door to every room.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something happening in each of them.
Yeah.
A lot of it is Donald Sutherland banging a random...
But yeah, I mean, and like a motel, you could conceivably, no pun intended, have lots of people coming through,
You'd
maybe
have a
young
pool in
women.
the middle as well.
There's the pool, people hanging by the pool, he's creeping around there.
There'd be a diner across the highway.
Yeah, and you could want high profile guests as well. I mean, I would probably cut the whole Zigzag Lillian bullshit because I don't know what's going on with that.
That's an unnecessary.
But if you wanted to, you could keep.
Yeah, if you have the ghost of the woman keep appearing as well and affecting his life, if it's next to a busy road, you can have him just wake up in the middle of the road and cars coming out, and so the hallucinations become dangerous, and then we get worried about the character.
Yeah.
I'd also have other people realize that he's hallucinating.
Yeah.
Because
and I think
nobody does.
You just need to give him a bit more humanity as well. Not in an exculpatory way, but we need to care a little bit that his life is falling apart. The way it is, he's just like this weird caricature.
Yeah.
So just feel like you kind of get why he is the way he is in some way. And I would have him and Brendan ride motorbikes together earlier in the movie, and then at the end when he takes off, Brendan chases him on his motorbike, and he sees him go off the cliff.
Yeah, we should also.
And we see it as well.
Yeah,
but if you don't have the budget for that, sound effect would be better if it's overlaid of Brendan watching it happen. So we don't see it, but we see Brendan see it. And then you could
do that.
Then you could say that's a choice. He'd be all over it. And I'd remove the shot of them in heaven. I'm going to cut all the heaven stuff.
I kind of want to cut out the pipe organ completely.
Yep, don't need the organ. Yep. Definitely not.
As much as the music is great, Hans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was all Hans. And so that's younger and younger.
That is younger than you.
Don't have to drag this out.
Where do you want to rank this one?
So, ladies and gentlemen, we don't score Brendan Fraser's movies. We rank them. We're a ranking podcast. This is the 7th movie going on the list.
Something else we got going for us.
Yeah, no one else ranks all the movies.
The number one Brendan Fraser podcast in Australia.
Yeah. Well, the number one done by Australians.
The number one Brendan Fraser podcast that doesn't score them out of 10, it ranks them.
Yep.
And we also... number one of just chatting about which Brendan would beat all the other Brendans in a fight.
No one else does which Brendan would win in a fight. So
Why would they?
We'll always have that. So
We'll always have that.
there's 6 on the list. Current ranking from worst to best. Dogfight, brackets more like dog shit. Child of Darkness, Child of Light. $20, Encino Man, School Ties, Presumed Guilty. That's our ranking at the moment. I'm going to start at the bottom.
I'm gonna stop at the bottom as well. That's where this goes.
You think this is below Dogfight?
I do, and I don't like that. I think that
Well, yeah.
because Dogfight is dog shit.
But it's a movie.
It is a movie. It tells a story. It succeeds at telling
And that
the story.
has characters who are acting in what we felt like, not everyone does, but we felt was acting in a weird and creepy, crazy way. But I think it's slightly more intentional in that movie.
Yeah.
This, I mean, it's weird. It's weird on purpose, but I think it's weird to no real end. And it does the character of Penny so dirty in a really horrible way and confusing way. That double wink on the pink heaven clouds, I'm never going to get over. All right, bottom of the list.
Where it deserves to be.
7 is Younger and Younger.
I don't think we
Rough.
ever felt this way about one of Daniel's films where we like put it on the bottom and we're like, you deserve to be there.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Did we deserve things to be on the bottom?
I'm sure we did. I don't
Because like
think I have the list.
the short film,
I don't have the
the
list on
cockroach short film
The cockroach ejaculate short film,
was horrific.
as we would like to call it,
But I
that
don't
definitely
think it's at the
deserved to be
bottom.
there.
Because I'm pretty sure like there were episodes of fucking Are You Afraid of the Dark or whatever it was that were very low.
You're afraid of the dark.
But like I did not want Dogfight to not be the bottom, so
Yeah.
I'm quite sad that this is actually worse than Dogfight.
Yeah, I remember we kept finding things for Daniel Craig that we were like, yeah, that's the bottom, and then stuff kept beating it. Like I remember we were very confident that Love and Rage was going to stay at the bottom.
Yeah, I hated that.
Obsession stayed very close to the bottom. And I think it might be one of those two. That was a different time in our lives. And now, the much more important ranking: which of all the Brendans would win in a fight? The current rankings. From least likely to win in a fight to most likely to win in a fight.
This one.
Child of Darkness, $20, Dogfight, Presumed Guilty, Encino Man, School Ties.
Okay.
This Brendan doesn't have any fights.
No fights.
He's a bit of a square.
He does survive falling off a building.
He does survive falling off a building.
A safe, gentle bushes.
Into bushes, yeah.
He also
Which is-
takes a very long time to destroy the really, really available halo, like neon lights of a sign.
Well, I mean, I feel like that would be kind of hard to.
If you
to
get
destroy.
one pole and just walk along, you're shattering all of those.
Okay, well,
Not that I've done this.
no, I mean, but you know, it's good to know that you know. This, I mean, you can say this for this Brendan. He does have a rage.
He does get to yell,
He's
but it
full
is
of rage.
It is a stupid yell. Like he does just
Yeah,
squeal at
but
the dude.
I feel like, when he lets that leaf blower have it, I feel like he could punch on, you know, if you really pushed him to it. But he's only really doing that in the context of realizing his entire family is sort of a lie and a sham, and his father's a charlatan.
I don't think this guy could even beat a high school footballer in a fight.
Well, high school football is the top of the list.
No, the first high school footballer. Oh, sorry, high school lacrosse player.
High school lacrosse player, Child of
Yeah,
Darkness.
he could kick this guy's ass. Because
Maybe.
we even get Brendan referring to himself as a bit of a dweeb in the film, where he's like, I was a good student, but not like great.
Yeah. And this Brendan he's just kind of an idiot as
He is an
well.
idiot.
Like he's fallen asleep dropping pizza on himself. He doesn't put pants on around his dad.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah, you wear pants around your dad, folks.
Wear pants
Folks,
when your
some
dad's
advice.
around.
If your dad's around, wear some pants.
Yeah. Almost anyone, I would say.
Yeah.
I will say almost anyone. All right, Younger and Younger at the bottom of both lists. Brutal but deserved.
My God.
And, you know, it's fine. Everyone involved in this has done many amazing projects, and they probably just wanted to forget about this, but we're not going to let them.
No.
We're now the third content creator to go back and cover this direct-to-TV, direct-to-video movie. Yeah, sorry, it's not made for TV. It's not made for cinemas. Just straight to video.
Jesus. Imagine that. Imagine making something straight for people to try and rent from a shop.
Yeah, who's going to see this?
then
Well,
everyone's like, fuck that.
we're gonna print some VHS tapes and send them out into the world, and we'll never know how many people
There's
see
no
it.
way for us to keep a track of this.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
What's next?
Next is, I think it's a Pauly Shore.
Is it Biodome?
No, he's not in Biodome.
Doesn't he have a cameo in Biodome?
Nope, he's in Son-in-Law. Was that the one? No, I think it's With Honors is the Pauly Shore one.
Okay.
And then In the Army Now. But next is Son-in-Law.
Which is the one with Joe Pesci? Because I'm very keen for the Joe Pesci film.
I think it must be In the Army Now. Yeah, next is Son-in-Law,
Okay.
featuring Pauly.
Yay. Imagine if it's worse.
So we've got a bumpy road. We've got Son-in-Law, we've got With Honors. Then it's Airheads.
Cool. Something fun.
So that's going to be good. I'm pretty confident about that. Then it's In the Army Now. So I mean, if we persist with this, given how we've discovered that we're revisiting very well trod territory, it's going to be. I mean, look, it's exhausting. That's fine. I mean, all we've learned by finding these other great creators that it's also a bit more pointless than we realized. But everything's pointless at the end of the day.
Life is technically quite pointless.
Yeah, technically.
There's really no meaning.
No.
Also, With Honors is the Joe Pesci film that I'm looking forward to.
Okay, all right. Well, that gives that's the thin.
That's after the Pauly Shore one.
Yeah.
Because it's 94.
Okay.
Keen.
Yeah, all right. Well, life may seem meaningless, but that's only an illusion, because it's got plenty of meaning, because we're going to go watch that Joe Pesci movie and talk about it.
And you're going to watch Spider-Man.
And I'm going to watch Spider-Man, so it's all going to be fine.
Yep.
It's all going to be fine. Don't let this film break you, guys. If you watched it,
and if you haven't, don't.
Avoid it. It's like the tape from The Ring. If you've been enjoying the show, you can follow us on Twitter at ExceptionalPod or Instagram, Exceptional Thieves. Send us an email at exceptionalthieves@gmail.com. And join us next time for more exceptional theft of your time. Forgot to say that last week.
Did we? Oh.
I think I was just so sad.
It was a very sad episode.
Wind's gone out of my sails. They're pretty limp now, to be honest.
Well, the breeze will pick up.
Flat seas.
The breeze will eventually...
Unbroken horizon of just whatever, Bye, guys.